Welcome back to the series where we talk about my life while trying to get to level 256 in Pac Man.
Hey, so welcome back to another Pac Man video. I haven't done one of these in a while, a couple months. But here I wanted to talk about my academic stories. Ha, I didn't do the rhyme, or the alliteration, even though I love that stuff. Anyway, academic stories. I have a bunch of things written down because I couldn't think of any stories off the top of my head. But 20 minutes later, and I've got a buttload of stories now that I can tell that I probably won't be able to get all through today. So let's start all the way back at the beginning in pre-K. Yes, we're going all the way to pre-kindergarten. There were two main things that I remember about pre-K. The first thing is that we had homework in pre-K, which is a little crazy. It wasn't really hard homework. I mean, obviously, but it was just writing down words and letters, and I think some very basic math. But yeah, I hated that. I got taught young that homework is awful. And I also remember my parents really wanted me to learn to read. So I also learned to read, which I did not like. I did not like learning to read because it was boring. We'll come back to that thing later. Oh, and also one other thing. I have this very vague memory of asking this kid to give me the skin color crayon, which is funny because it's not this. It was tan. I was asking for tan, but I called it skin color because it was my skin color. And I think, and I asked it to a guy that's skin color was not tan. So, oh man, I don't know why I remember that, but looking back at it now, it just makes me cringe. Anyway, moving on to kindergarten. Kindergarten. I was quite the troublemaker in kindergarten. I don't remember exactly what I did, but I do remember going to the principal's office every other week. And man, I don't even remember anything. I don't remember what I did to get in there. I think I know I backtalked to the teacher a lot just because I didn't understand the authority around her. And it was also sometime around that year that I got diagnosed with ADHD, a fairly common disorder, actually. So, it's whatever. I got, what was it, 2 pills? No, it was just one giant pill that I had to take every day. Also monkeys. The teacher was a monkey gal. There's a lot of monkeys. I don't first grade, we're moving up there. Because I don't really remember much of my elementary years. But first grade is when I first met Dustin, one of my best friends. We had the same class together. We were the troublemaker duo. And this is also when I started to really get into reading. I know, because in pre-K, I had basically learned to hate reading because the only time I did it was whenever I was forced to not do whatever I wanted in my free time. But now I actually kind of enjoyed reading. I read it. The biggest series I remember in elementary school was The Magic Tree House. Those are the stories that I read a lot. There's something else too, but I can't think of what it was. Oh, Geronimo Stilton. That's what it was. Geronimo Stilton. Those were the two series I read a lot in elementary school. So yeah, that's when my love of reading started. And also my love of doodling. I did a lot of doodling and a lot of comics, none of which I have today. But there's one about ninjas. I talked a little bit about this in my art one last time. But I did a little bit of ninja comics, a little bit of just everything, including my Cylinder Man comic back in first or second grade. I can't really remember. And also Adventure Club. That was a thing. It was an after-school program thing. So I got to stay at school until 5 or 6 o'clock. It was... I mean, actually, it wasn't that bad, to be honest. It was really fun to hang out with all my friends. And Dustin had it too, so that's why... That's really cool. I remember Quentin is the only other... Marco. Marco and Quentin are the two people I remember from Adventure Club. That's not Dustin, I guess. Quentin was actually well, I wouldn't say rich, but he was comfortably above average. So you know, I didn't really realize it at the time, and I know Dustin was totally jealous of him, which I didn't realize why he was acting a little rude around Quentin all the time until later. But yeah, we played a lot of DS games or whatever because we had DSs. We were cool like that. We did a lot of multiplayer DS stuff. Yeah, okay. Moving on to second grade. I don't remember any unique stories about second grade, except that my teacher, whoever it was, Mrs. Bowen, I think? Bowen? She had a bunch of owls around her classroom. I remember the owls distinctly. That's the only specific memory I have of second grade. Or at least that I could remember. Which I guess is sort of like a memory. Never mind. Now to third grade. We're almost through elementary school. Which was the first time we actually had to move around for classes. To go to different class. It was only one other class. You had to move over for English and math or whatever. But, and it wasn't that far for third and fourth or whatever. It was just down the hall. Not even, honestly. So it wasn't that bad, to be honest. But, it was the first time we had to do it, and I remember feeling really old. Or, not old, that's not the right word. Mature. I felt really mature that we were doing that. And, well, no specific memories again for that, aside from the moving, I guess. And I do always attribute, anytime I can't remember something from my, like, exactly when something happened in my early years, I always attribute it to third grade, just because I feel like it was probably then, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, fourth grade, almost through the elementary, was when Mrs. Carr, she was a fun teacher. She was really the only teacher I remember, early year. She was really fun. She got me into the Gregor the Overland series. There was only like 6 books, but I don't even really remember it. Except bats. There were giant bats. Something like that. And I also doodled a lot still. Oh, wait, I have Doodler on 4th. That should be in 1st. Oh, well. Yeah, I doodled a lot. And Mrs. Carr was a big fan of my doodles, which is awesome. I don't really know why they weren't that good. Maybe it wasn't about what I drew, but the passion of which I drew. Ooh, there's something to think about. 5th grade! Oh wow, I'm almost at the 10-minute mark. Holy cow. This is going slower than I thought. I want to get all the way to 10th grade today. Okay, well, 5th grade was when we got to middle school, and it was humongous compared to the elementary school. Like, almost twice as big, probably. And it was terrifying. And you had to move for every class, not just for 2 classes or whatever. And, well, I guess most of the classes were just down the hall, too. But, it was still a little scary to move down. This was also the year I had general music, and some stuff about general music. We watched a bunch of musicals in that class, which is super fun. What specific musicals? I remember Anne, the Orphan Gal. You know, the one that's It's a Hard Knock Life. There's also Fiddler on the Roof. We watched that one too. Don't really remember it though. Couldn't tell you what it was about. Something about tradition. And, well, that's only 2 that I remember a lot of the musicals that we watched. And also the library. I got really into the library at middle school. To date, it's probably my favorite library I've had at a school. I'm not entirely sure why. The librarian was really nice. They had a lot of cool books. I don't know, I just felt really comfortable there. Just don't really have anything to say about that, and I guess that's 5th grade, and I'm at the 10-minute mark. Okay! By the way, 5th grade was when I stopped doing Adventure Club. For 4 long years I had done Adventure Club, and it was so sad to see it go. Anyway, 6th grade. I need to move quicker if I'm going to get through this, because the amount of stories per grade increases as my memory got better. Or just, you know, because it's more recent, I guess. Anyway, 6th grade. That was when puberty. Ew. Specifically the puberty of, wow, I'm gonna say it. Okay, specifically the puberty of like liking every girl you see. That was a strange time. Oh, and it's also when I met Wyatt and Marlon, which are two of my good friends. Marlon, who right now I have English with, and Wyatt, who I have one lunch with this year. But that's when I met those two guys, which was amazing. Those two guys are the greatest. And Marlon's a bit of an introvert, but I mean, aren't we all a little introverted? Also, sixth grade was when the year whenever, you know, the difficulty of the assignments started to increase. Because my parents had taught me so well back in like pre-K, I sort of had a head start for like all the grades or whatever. But and it wasn't until sixth grade that I like it started to catch up with me, and I'm like, oh no, I have to try to get good grades now. Dang it. Which, yes, I know it makes me sound really spoiled or whatever, but I don't know. I wasn't used to working to get good grades. Um, but yeah, that's when I had to start actually putting a little effort to get good grades. I remember specifically Mr. Eford's class, social studies, was a hard class, in my opinion. It was also when. Oops, I didn't mean to say his name, because I'm saying bad things about him. Let's call him Banana Man. This is when Banana Man started bullying me. The only bully I've had, actually, was in sixth grade, so that's really exciting. Which is, I did talk about this in my third part, I think, but it's really strange how middle school is when you're most likely to have a bully, not high school. Anyway, strange things, strange things. But yeah, that's when Banana Man started bullying me for pretty much the entire year. And also when I started to beat the crap out of him at the end of the year. I remember that. That was terrible memory. I hate that. Anyway, this is also the year where I noticed the trend of everyone thinking it was cool to act depressed all the time, which I am defiant against. I will never be a depressed donkey because gross. I dislike that trend. I'll say that. It does really bother me that everyone is always acting so depressed. But hey, you can't really say that because what if they really are depressed? It's awful. Anyway, so choir. Yeah, this was the year I did choir. Jeez, I'm so behind. I haven't even gotten to seventh. Choir. Guess what happened in choir? That's when I discovered my love of music. The sound of music makes you lose it, makes you lose control. Yeah, I still remember pretty much all my choir songs from sixth grade because I loved it. I loved choir. Anyway, seventh grade. Oh, that was junior high. Holy cow. Okay, we're in junior high. I had a English teacher, Mr. Fleming, who I remember because he was super chill, man. Dude, he gave us really easy A's, to be honest, and he was really fun. He let us. We watched towards the end of the year. We watched Star Wars, and he let us watch a movie of our choice during class. And of course, I chose the Lego Movie because that's how hip and cool I am. His excuse was that we had to learn the hero's journey. So yeah. This was also when I met Mrs. Beach, who was pretty much the coolest teacher in junior high. I mean, like it's a tie pretty much between Mrs. Beach and Mr. Collier. I can't decide. Anyway, we'll get to Mr. Collier next year though. Mrs. Beach was really fun. I was in her GTT something technology class. We did like make basic catapults, a little bit of handiwork, stuff like that. It was fun. But I mean, nothing too noteworthy. We did do an egg drop. I remember that. I did horribly on that. um, and this is also theater year, which I have a lot of memories about theater, but I'll save that for another time because holy crap, I'm running out of time. Mrs. Greenway was the bomb. I'll tell you one basic story. We were playing Pictionary in that class, and one of the people in my team was they just drew 3 stick figures, and I guessed three's a crowd. And the teacher looked at me like, what? Why would you guess that? So anyway, that's my theater story. This is also when I started doing Spanish, intro to Spanish. There wasn't a lot of language stuff because it was more about the culture of Spanish to get you introduced to the Spanish stuff. I remember she gave us some Spanish candy too. Don't remember how that tastes, but it was actually a pretty fun class, all things considered. It was more helpful than Spanish 1, if I'm being completely honest. Because Spanish 1, it takes, like, the first semester is all of, like, what you learn in Intro to Spanish. But you have to take Spanish 1 before you can take Spanish 2. Anyway, that's weird, that's bad. This is also when I met Jaden, not Jaden Animations, but Jaden from art class, art episode, that Jaden. I met her in 7th grade, science, where we did, like, I don't know, science stuff. We actually had 2 projects together, which were randomly assigned. So it wasn't that we got together. Yeah, we did one egg drop thing, which we named Dorito, and we did a marble chase thing, which we didn't name, I don't think. And that actually went pretty well. Both things went pretty well. It was fun. Holy cow, I'm running out of time. 8th grade was Mrs. Beach and Mr. Collier for East. Mr. Collier was the East teacher, and he was really fun. He was actually working on a movie side project. He does it every year, but or at least he says he did it every year. But he works on like a really budget movie that the school will produce, and I tried to get into it, but sadly COVID happened. But anyway, enough about COVID because that's gross. Let's talk about the library. That was a really good library. Loved that library. They had Naruto in that library. They have Naruto in the high school library too, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. And this was the year that I also read It, because I got dared to read It, by Stephen King. In 2 weeks, did not win that bet, but that book was kind of concerning. Oh my gosh, holy cow, I have 2 minutes. Well, let me just, anyway, in East, we made a clock, I remember. We made a clock in East that would tell the time or whatever. We hung it up in the East room. Because my brother is just now going into junior high now. Just a couple weeks ago, I went back there, and I said hi to Mrs. Beach and Mr. Collier. And the clock is still in there 3 years later. Even though I don't think any of the students that made that clock are even at the school anymore, but it's still there, and that makes me a little happy. And 8th grade, as I said, was my favorite year. I don't remember when I said it, but I know I've said it before. It was my favorite year. There's just a lot of cool stuff that I got to do. And I know I have a minute left before this episode's going to end, but geez, there's so much more I want to say. But yeah, I got to do a lot of cool stuff, like in student aid, because I had student aid that year. That allowed me to go to pretty much any class I wanted to run errands, and I could just say like, hi, and it was really fun. Anthony, Susu, and Carter were my partners in student aid. It was only 3 people doing, or I guess it was just 1 teacher. 2 teachers, I guess. We had the robotics teacher too. We helped with that guy too. That was a really fun time. I'm actually out of time though, speaking of time. So I'll just end this off here. I'm in 10th grade as of right now. The future's looking a little intimidating, but I hope it'll be great. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Future Marcus here. I gotta say, we gotta put up on screen the amount of rounds we got through this time. 93. Pretty impressive, actually. Considering I only played for 50 minutes. That's actually not that impressive. But anyway, for real. Bye!